Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of WIP Wednesday Live. Tonight is episode 48. If you're new here, this is a weekly live stream where I customize and chat with fellow collectors, fellow customizers, and people within the community, and all you fine people in the chat. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. It costs you nothing, and it goes a long way for us. I don't know how, but it does apparently. So please hit that like, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do that as well. And if you haven't, drop a little comment in the chat. Doesn't look like we have too many people in here yet, but if you're watching on the replay, please leave a comment and say hello there as well. So last week, banners out here. Last week, I had my buddy Will Bailey on Token Customs. We got to do some customizing. He was working on an Age of Apocalypse Havoc and what was the second project he was working on? AOA Havoc and not Cyclops, something else, but my mind is fried. I had a long day of frying donuts today, so kind of scatterbrained at the moment, but yeah, so if you didn't check that one, check the replay. It was a good one. We both got quite a bit of work done on our figures that we were working on, so check it out. Leave a comment, say hello. Ooh, there we go. Also last week on my usual Saturday night podcast with my buddy Ryan over at Moose Milk Media, we went over The Last of Us episode 8. We also went over Mandalorian episode 2, season 3, episode 2, and just gave our thoughts on it, as we do. If you haven't checked that one out, again, please go show us a little bit of love at Moose Milk Media on YouTube. We do it every Saturday. This week, we are looking forward to chatting about the series or season finale of The Last of Us and episode 3 of Mandalorian, which aired today. So if you haven't checked it out, please keep it spoiler free in the comments if you have. But yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting with Ryan as I do every week. I usually at this point will talk about my guests next week, but I have decided that I am actually going to take a little bit of time off of these little Wednesday live streams. Tonight's going to be my last one for, I'm not sure yet. Probably at least a month, maybe 6 weeks. I just have a lot happening in life right now. I know I'm going to be having to travel out of town with work over the next, couple months. And instead of having inconsistent live shows kind of just here and there, I'm just going to take a little break, get some extra customizing done before I start doing my traveling. And I'll pick it back up again, early spring, probably like, first week of May or last week of April or something like that. But I will continue to do the Moose Milk Pod every Saturday night. So if you do need a little bit of Customs by Matchu in your life, that's your access point. So, and I'll obviously still be active on Instagram and all that shit. So you know where to find me if you need me. Tonight's guest. So tonight's guest is fun because I was just saying to him that we haven't really had a chance to really get to know each other that well. I'm a big fan of his work, and this guest was kind of actually chosen by our chat, our usually active chat. When we were doing the Life with Brock episode, I was live in the chat, and we spent quite a bit of time on this person's profile, looking at all of his great work. And a lot of people were like, you should get him on the show so he can talk about how he does all this stuff. And when I reached out, he was gracious enough to say yes. So please, everybody, give a very warm welcome to the master of hot glue arts, Hans, aka One Oak Customs. Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Of course. Thank you for taking time. I know you're on Mountain Time, so I know it's a little bit later there than, but you were saying you're a night owl, so at least that works in our favor. So
it's all good. Also, I picked up a Monster so I could stay up.
Excellent. I'm having myself a little beverage myself, nice caffeinated beverage too. I worked freaking stupid long days these last couple of days. I work in we were kind of just talking about what you do, but I work in the grocery industry. I oversee bakery operations for 30 grocery stores. And awesome. a sweet gig.
Literally
and
sweet.
It's literally sweet. And I've been trying to get time to go and make donuts. We do fresh donuts in some of our stores, so I've been trying to find time to go and do that and do some development, make some new flavors. So yesterday I did a long day. It was about 11 hours. Today was just shy of 11, and then tomorrow will probably be another 11-hour day just to get it done, but need to get it done. So
wow.
Yeah, for the sure. Things we do for work,
Trust me, I know.
So for anybody who maybe doesn't know who you are or what you do, you want to break that down for everybody? I'm going to actually pull up your Instagram and kind of have a look through this while you do, but you want to let everybody know who you are, what you do, what you make, what you collect, all that sort of stuff.
So my name is Hans. You guys know me as One Oak Customs. If you don't know what that means, One Oak, actually, I used to do woodworking, and
really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I have a garage that I do all my woodworking in. So I have a woodworking shop, and it was One Oak Creations for that. And One Oak to me is one of a kind, is what One Oak stands for. So One of a Kind Customs.
I love that. That's awesome.
So I'm a husband, and you saw my beautiful wife up there. I have 3 kids, a 16, a 15, and a 5-year-old. They take up 90% of my time. Both my boys are in AAU basketball, baseball. My daughter does,
oh my God,
swimming and gymnastics. And then on top of that, trying to spend time with my wife. We watch TV shows together. We're on the last episode of The Last of Us, and we're supposed to watch Mandalorian tonight, but we did not.
Instead, you're spending your time here hanging out with us.
Oh yeah, what I'm saying, I don't really get a lot of screen time. This is actually my first interview or time online. So
that's good, man. I'm happy that I was the one to do that for you. That's great.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate you having me on. So what do I collect? I started off with master grade Gundams for a long time. I had like 60, 70 of them. I ended up selling all that. And then I got into Transformers, Masterpiece Transformers, got into Fans Toys, X-Transbots. And that was my whole collection. And I mean, I spent thousands of dollars on it. And I decided to, one day I was in Walmart, and my kids at the time were into Beyblades, and we were in there, and I walked by, and when Toy Biz was around, I did not like any of the action figures. I hated the way they looked. I hated the hip joints, hated everything.
Yeah.
So when I was walking by, there was a Gambit for $11. I was like, it's $11. Let me buy it. I bought it, took it home, took it out of packaging, and I was like, this is what I've been waiting for forever. It was a figure at this quality, and I bought it for $11 at the time. That's great. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, don't you miss those prices? I know they were. I know that was probably a sale price for you, but I mean, still, even the fact where we're currently at now, it's like,
it's getting ridiculous. I mean, come on, you're spending $28 and you're getting 2 pairs of hands, and then they have the same line for G.I. Joe, and you get 20 items with the.
I know the G.I. Joe make everything look so fucking good. I'm not a G.I. Joe collector, but man, I'm jealous of what they're getting in those pack-ins.
I am. So I got that too. So what I collect now is Marvel Legends, G.I. Joes, NECA Ninja Turtles, and I still do, if I once in a while buy a Gundam. I just got burned out for building master grades. I mean, building inner frames and all that stuff. They just take
those take, I was going to say, they take a pretty long time, right, to put together?
Yeah, most definitely. And, painting them, taping them off, and doing all that stuff, I just, it got
a lot repetitive. Of work. Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, that's what I collect.
Nice, man. You have a great collection of and I learned something. I'm not gonna break into your approach on these yet, because you mentioned something before we went live that I wasn't aware of how you do some of these super crisp lines, and we'll talk about that soon. But
no problem.
But yeah, man, you fucking just nail it. Like, these things are all just beautiful. And when we did that episode of Life with Brock, we spent a substantial amount of time on your page just going through it one after the other, and Brock's just like, look at that. I mean, you obviously, so I think you said you had watched that one, so yeah, man, it's just so impressive, dude. Just so impressive.
I hate that pose right there. But
do you? Is it just because the hand's like behind the body a little bit? Or?
That body is it does not pose well. That's the thing, right? I like
it's got long legs, that pose well. Which I
mean, look at that, and go back to Spider-Man and look how dynamic that body mold is.
Yeah, that's one of my questions about what your favorite body molds is. But jumping the gun here. That Sunfire one is one of my favorites. It's just so fun to work with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. So fuck yeah, man. I love this. I love it. This is such a cool group.
Yeah, I came across the idea of doing this, was like I've always wanted to. I seen somebody do it and I was like, yo, those lines are way too crispy. It'll be very to do, it'll be very time consuming, and time is not on my side. Like I said, I have 3 kids, and it just takes forever, right?
Yeah.
And what happened was I bought one of those juggernauts off of AliExpress.
Yep.
You know, those cheap ones, and I bought like 3. They were $11. I was like, why not?
Them? Great deal.
And I was taking apart a thing, and then I saw that sitting right next to it, and I just literally put it together. I was like, there it is right there. That's the body for Future Foundation thing. I got it.
As soon as I saw I remember you were on your story showing your kit bash for the body you were going to use for that, and I was like, that's fucking smart, man.
It's just a whole body setup with different shoes.
Yeah. It's good. Looks good. Turned out really, really great. I love this too.
That took me forever. That fur, just cutting and gluing, like I'm telling you, it took me like 5 days of cutting and gluing. My hands were hurting. I used these small snips. I'm talking about these right here, and they're made out of metal.
Oh my God.
Man, did my hands
That would hurt your fingers.
But I mean, it was something different. I wanted to try something new. And I was going to leave it 3D printed, and I was like, you know what? I got to take it to the next level. Let's try something different. And I used fur.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like seriously, honestly, it's like, I don't even know where to start when I start looking at all this stuff. Cause there's just like, it's the fur, it's the hot glue. We talked about this with the different octopus tentacles and stuff like that, and like how you do that. It's the chains, it's the, we spent quite a bit of time on Sandman.
That
we
were talking me right about there.
Oh my God, dude, like so fucking good. Like,
so that Daredevil, real quick, now that they announced her, I'm like, dang. So my goal,
Daredevil?
Yeah, my goal is to make things that I don't think Hasbro will make.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I'm glad they made it. I want other people to have it. I mean, it's a beautiful design, and I just did it way before they did. And I probably used the exact same legs as they did, because I think it's the exact same.
What did you use? Are those G.I. Joe?
Yep, G.I. Joe, the female from the movie, his sister.
Yeah, I remember.
Which they used as the infantry or the body now, with the 2-pack with the guy and girl ninja. It's the same legs as well.
It's like the blue ninjas, right? I don't know my G.I. Joe well. Like when people say names, I'm just like right over my head.
My problem is I only know like the regular core, but I have to have every single one once I start collecting something. It's an addiction.
I know that story all too well. Yeah, this looks fucking great, man. You're just very talented. Very talented.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see. And I know that the people in the chat will agree. I can already see lots of people saying, whoa, oh man, Mark A. Creations here. Nice. I'll say hi to the chat in a minute here. But this is what you did for the first. This is kind of like, because like, really, I don't think I really followed you much until you started doing the secret swaps and stuff like that. I just wasn't aware of your work.
Who was your partner that year that did that with you?
Well, Ethan Supley Customs and I always work together. So
Ethan hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And I was like, you know what? Sure. And I was glad I did it. I got to meet a lot of people doing it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love doing the swaps. I've been doing the swaps as long as, not as long. Ethan's been running the event for, this is his 12th. This will be his 12th year.
Okay.
It's crazy. I've been participating for, I think this will be my 9th year or 8th year. So it's been a while, but now like I've been helping him with this. This will be my 3rd year helping. So, I mean, realistically, like, the way it's kind of turned is like Wes, Ethan, he like does like all the pairing, and then I'm the communications person. So I do social, and then I do most of the communication. He helps. He kind of steps in when I have like somebody who's like flaking on us, or you know what I mean? Like when we have to have difficult discussions, he's like dad. He like deals with like the difficult stuff, and I just get to do the fun shit. So it's a good setup. I know. It's good. It's a good setup for sure.
Oh. That one caused a lot of drama. I'm not even going to talk about it though. Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to make a Swarm figure, but I just never knew the best way to approach it. So
I literally took it off of Craig Warwick 100%. So
did you?
that's my
Yeah.
2.0. In my 1.0, I gave him a shout out. And this one I did not, which caused a lot of drama with a lot of people, but that's nor here nor there. But Craig Warwick, he's the one who gave me the idea from the beginning. Actually, when I first started, here, I'll get into this. Like when I first started 4 years ago is when I started customizing action figures. And the people that I follow and watch that got me to this point was number one is Pounds 978.
Man. He's so good. I got to collaborate with him on something. It was awesome.
Man, he is amazing. His paint work, that's what
is incredible. Do you have anything of his in your possession?
No, I don't. I mean, I've asked,
oh my God, man.
But he always tells me every time I talk to him, he tells me, man, you could do it yourself. You don't want to buy it for me. You could do it yourself. I get that. But I mean, you know, from the very beginning, he said, use Model Masters, you know, black, and these are hard, they no longer make it. And luckily my store that I had here had like 5 bottles, and I bought all 5, and we can't find them anywhere. If not, they're like $25 a piece,
right?
So I went the opposite route. He uses gloss and I used matte color, and all this time until I did this most recent figure did I use gloss on this one right here, and then I just matte finish it. It was 10 times easier. So for 4 years, from the very beginning, the first video I saw, he told me exactly what I should use, and I went against it. And now I'm doing the thing that he said at the very beginning to do of the first video I saw of his.
I'm a big Craig Warwick fan, and
Craig Warwick.
I'm a big fan of Pounds too. I mean, like I said, I've really, you know, we chatted a bunch when we were working on, we did Doppelganger together. I had kind of said to him, look, man, like, I really want a doppelganger that's like worth being in my collection, but like I have zero desire to paint it. So I said, how much would you charge me to paint it?
I saw that video. I did not know that was you that collaborated with it.
Yeah. So
that
then
thing
like
is fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I feel like a lot of it is in because of him. So, but yeah, like when we did it, like, you know, like he basically said, if you build me one, I won't charge you to paint it. I'll just paint yours and mine together, and then away we go, right? So
what a swap. That's a deal right there.
It was great. Yeah,
deal any day.
And like I remember when I got that thing in hand, like the webbing, the paint webs on like even the ones that like go into the joints and stuff are painted right into the joints. Like it literally does not miss a beat. Like it's so perfectly executed. Like yeah, he's amazing. I don't know how he gets everything so clean. I have no fucking clue.
So. Yeah, it was him. Craig Warwick, you know, rest in peace. I think Glenn Webb, and
yeah, Glenn Webb's great too.
And the first, you know, it's funny, the very first video that I saw, and I think that's when he first started, was Kit Bash Customs.
Oh, you know, Kit Bash is great too.
I saw this hand with, I had never saw his face at the time because I wasn't on IG, or I didn't see his face, and he had this big old Decepticon, you know, and I started following him from there. And I mean, the dude, you know, I don't know him personally. I mean, I talked to him once or twice, but I mean, he always shares my photos, and I appreciate him. You know what I'm saying? Like those things go a long way.
He's a really good guy. He's just an all around good dude. Like again, like I don't really have a big relationship with him, but like, you know, I've helped him find stuff before when he's you know, looked for, you know, he was looking for like exclusive Power Rangers that he couldn't find, and I was seeing them all over here. So I was like, you know, helping him get stuff. But yeah, generally speaking, you know, we don't like chat too regularly, but yeah, he's an all around nice guy. Right. And I like that he's an open book, and I like that he's like just a real, like a straight shooter again. Right. Like, so can appreciate somebody who, you know, says what's on their mind. So
of course.
Yeah. I'm going to, before we dive too into this, I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat really quick.
Sounds good.
Figurama by Enemy Zero. Sean, what's up, my friend? My buddy Sean here. He's one of my local friends. He and I met up this morning, and he sent me over these guys, which I, you know, in Canada, we don't really get these, right? So he was in Seattle and found them for me. So thank you, Sean. I can't wait to open them tonight. Marcus Yee, what up, man? How's it going? Neil, hi, how are you? Neil says, yeah, One Oak, I'm a huge fan. He's one of the guys who was really pushing for you to be on the show. So
well, I appreciate it, man.
There you go. Here's a little bit of love for you. Figurama says, "Whoa, that Ghost Rider in the wheelchair is so cool." As soon as you posted that picture, I was like, "He's gonna make this in like a week. I know he's going to."
Yo, look, once I start something, and if it's already like kit bashed together into something small, man, I could do it within, give me a night, and I'll get it done.
Marcus says that samurai looks sick. Neil said, "Take notes, folks. Here's someone who got all his followers based on skill and not by handing out hand jobs." That's his joke with me. We always talk about getting hand jobs to get followers. It's no big deal.
It happens.
I like you gotta do what you gotta do.
You're right.
Marcus says, "I like that Ghost Goblin."
Probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a great one, man. I love how bright and green, like that cotton. That's cotton, right? Cotton balls?
Yeah, it is cotton.
Fuck,
yes.
It's so well executed. Figurama says, "G.I. Joe representing." Marcus E, Feature Foundation, and Marquet Customs Lab. What up, man? How you doing, man? Finally caught a WIP Wednesday. Yes, thank you for being here. I haven't seen you in the live show before, but thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for joining.
Then we got some Hans in the house. Marcus said Ghost Panther from Secret Wars would be sick.
I'm doing that. I've been.
Nice.
I posted years, like a year and a half ago, them together, and I have it up on the shelf right over here, still waiting to do it. I just haven't had
haven't had the inspiration, maybe.
Yes, there you go. Haven't found the body, and I did find the body, and I have it up here, which I'm going to be using the Barton body mold that just came out, and luckily here, I got like 50 figures up here for like $7 a piece. Remember we were talking about
yes,
the
sales? We were talking about that.
Target has been amazing lately with these sales. No one's buying them. Don't buy them. I'll buy them.
Yeah, you'll take them all on clearance.
Yeah, I use every single body.
Neil said, "What I love about his stuff is when he makes figures of brand new characters straight from a new comics. Example, Masters of Evil, Doc Ock team. Yeah, that's one of the things. It's like usually when I see stuff, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Where's that from? And they're like, it's literally like brand new. Like it's just like came out. So
I subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, which is like the comic book.
It
is fantastic. Everything I missed when I was a kid to everything that's new today. Sinister Wars. I mean, you could think of anything that anybody talked about and you don't know it, it's right on there. And you could, it literally breaks down every comic and everything that goes with it. And it's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. I wish I had time to read comics, but all my time goes to customizing mostly and this YouTube channel, which is a time suck. So
I usually just, when I'm like waiting on my kids while they're at practice, I literally just read.
I think that would be different if I had kids and had time. Like, and was trying to find things to fill in. Yeah. Valentine Figueroa. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Says, "Hi, Matchu. Longtime Insta fan, first time watcher." Oh, sweet. Thanks, man. Shout out to One Oak. Thanks for always sharing your 3D finds. That's great. We're going to talk about this. He said, "One Oak, where and how did you learn to master flame effects?" It's on my list. Trust me. It's something I'm definitely going to be asking.
Let me go grab some real quick.
Fred, what's up, man? How's it going? Said, "I think One Oak can claim the fame and the blame for hot glue gun mishaps." That's funny. Marquet Lab said, "Web, that's where I got started." Yeah, man, me too. And he says, "One Oak has the best freehand fire skills. Love to watch him glue gun." Yeah, man, I agree. You fucking make it look easy. Matchu Toy in the house. How's it going, my friend? How'd your guys' show go tonight with Mike? I don't know if anybody follows High School Creations. He just launched a Kickstarter for this thing called Wall XD. It's like a diorama that you can like expand like upwards and over, and like it's fucking really cool.
It looks amazing.
It looks so good. And he launched yesterday and he's already almost fully funded. I think he's 88% or something like that. So
that's awesome.
Pretty awesome. So Marcus says, "Sweet, let's go." STL St. Louis, is that you?
Yeah. Well,
is that where you're at?
I'm 20 minutes outside of St. Louis.
Okay, cool. Never made it there.
Being in the military, we get to go to games free unless it's a Cubs game, so we go all the time.
Gotcha. I'd love to see someone do old Arthur Adams styled new Fantastic Four with black comic shading on them. Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Grey Hulk. Yeah, you have some of those down here. I don't know if they're stylized like that, but
they're not.
Just past that?
I don't think it's the same.
Oh, this is new. Okay, yeah, he's talking about the classic, like the old one, right? Where
I believe there was like 3 iterations. I chose that one because I saw one picture and I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
You're like, yeah, this works. Oh,
Anything that looks
nice.
cool,
What's up,
I try
Kilo?
to make
How's
it.
it going? That's dude. I got some new faces in here. I love that. That's awesome. See, and that's what's hard. And then I'm like, I'm gonna take a little break, and then it's like, oh, maybe I don't want to take a break. Man, this thing is like a time suck. It's like I love it because I look forward to seeing everybody in the chat on the Wednesdays, but it's like it takes up my whole Monday night doing all the prep, and then it takes up my Wednesday night actually doing the thing. And it's just like right now, there's just so much happening, and I'm like, not gonna be able to be consistent like I like to be. So there is going to be some cry cut talk, Fred. Don't worry. I just discovered that today. So yeah. So I guess we could get started by just saying, like, how did you get into doing all this? I know you kind of touched on, what you collected at the beginning. Like, how did you get to this point where you were, pumping out all these customs? Do you keep track of how many figures you put out? Like,
no. So I have over like 50. I know that at this point, but I mean, I don't sell. I gave away a couple throughout the last 2 years, but I don't sell my customs. I like to have a collection, and the whole point of my collection.
Your collection is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. It's to fill in gaps. You know what I'm saying? And gaps that I know that I think personally that Hasbro wouldn't make. Some of these they would, but something like this, I don't think they're gonna make this Venom. So I decided to make it myself. So how did I get into it? So first, I am an artist. I draw and paint. I did that for years. My brother was an artist, and my mom loved the fact that my brother was an artist. So I decided I'm going to be an artist. And that's how I started getting into drawing. I took classes, went to college, took a couple classes there. And then I just went off on my own, did tattoos for people, or drew their tattoos for them. Yeah. And then, so I got into painting figures was about 5 years ago. I was at people I work with are big gamers or board gamers, and I work in communication field, so there's a lot of nerds. Okay, so with the nerds, they were playing this game called Descent, and they're like, "Come on over," and I was like, "Sure." And I saw it, and I was like, every character on there that was your, user character was gray, and all the bad guys were either red or tan, and I did not like it. I did not like the fact that they didn't have color. And I was saying that, and my friend was like, "Well, you want to paint them?" I was like, "You're going to give them to me?" He was like, "Yeah, but you're going to give them back." I was like, "Sure, let me just try it." So the first thing I did was went straight to Walmart and got apple barrel acrylic paint.
I had lots of those in my day.
I didn't know a difference between, that's what I use when I painted regular things, if I'm doing acrylic, or because it's so cheap to use.
Yeah, you might as well, right?
They actually turned out really well. And I was like, you know what, I could get into this. So I went online, started doing research, learned about Vallejo, Testers, Citadel, all different types of paints, Tamiya. And I started buying little by little. And then I got into a board game called Zombicide, which is an amazing game. And I just kickstarted their Marvel Zombicide that came out last year. So
I was just going to ask you if you still played.
Yeah, so Marvel Zombicide, I'm waiting for mine. Mine will be coming in the second wave, and it's all the Marvel characters, so that's why I definitely love it. So I got into that. I painted all those, and I started doing army painting. Like I did the whole army, and it got very boring after a while.
Sure, I can imagine that.
When I got into this collection, I started noticing that, like, man, there's so many figures that I would like that they don't have, but there's so many similar. So what I started off with was, at the time, Apocalypse, the head was like $150 just to buy it.
I remember that. Yeah.
And someone had it, on there that was a cast of it. So I took that cast, bought it, got it in, and I was like, let me try to paint it. And I painted it, turned out really well. And from there, I was like, all right, let me see who does this online. And like I said, I saw Pounds, I saw Craig Warwick, I saw all these different people do it, and they were amazing. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. And I went off and I did my first custom. That was only in 2019, December 2019, and I finished it January 20th, because I looked back at my timeline.
Sure.
I did January 20th of 2020. So I've only been doing this for like 3 years.
Damn, man, I gotta say, that's pretty impressive for you to only be doing this for 3 years.
Yeah, let me grab my very first custom too.
Man, I can't even like I'm not ashamed, but like my first couple customs were pretty fucking rough. So that's crazy. That was your first custom? So that's on a man ape body?
No, this is on the well, it is the same body, but it's the Sasquatch.
Gotcha.
And this head is actually the head from the tiger, the Build-A-Figure head that was a tiger.
Oh, Titus.
Yeah, so this was his head, and I just sanded it down to a bear's face, and then I just put hair on the side.
Good job. That's fucking crazy.
So that's once I did that, I was like, I got this. I could do this. Yeah, I could do this.
Yeah. That's crazy that's your first custom, dude. Like, totally crazy.
Well, yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Man, awesome work. That's so fucking good. So, so you said you've only been doing it for 3 years, and like, you know, are you still kind of using the same tools that you used when you started? So like, you know, like, are you using the same sculpts? You said you switched over to kind of like the more, you know, miniature style paints rather than the cheap apple barrel paints. Like,
100%.
Are you still? So, what do you use mostly for your sculpt work?
I use Avis Epoxy. That is my number one go-to. Those guys are great. I reached out to them, when I first started. I was like, hey,
did you really?
I was like, hey, I'm an upcoming guy. I just want to know if you guys would sponsor me or help me out. And man, they sent me like 2 cases. I was like, that is awesome. Yeah.
I need to fucking do that.
Yeah, I reached out to everybody. They're the only people that hit me back up. My wife was like, why don't you just reach out to them? And I did, and they were the only ones. And I was like, you know what? That's a sign. That's what I'm going to use. But I do use green stuff once in a while. Fair enough. I just bought Procreate. The one thing I'm not good at is hair. Yeah, I haven't really tried. So I was like, you know what? I'll get to that when I get to it.
Yes. Yeah. I always like kind of like every year or so, I kind of pick like a focal point that I want to work on. So like the last couple of years, I've really started focusing more on like the face paints, particularly when I do female figures. I really would love my figures to like be pretty. Like, you know, I see, you know, like Christina, Conan, I see Morning Wolf, I see their, you know, these faces that are just beautifully decked out. And I'm just like,
crispy.
Man, mine don't look like that. Mine look like the girls got like punched in the face. They like fucking like black eyes. They look so bad.
Yours not even that close. It's not even that bad. Don't even sell yourself
they're better
short.
Now. They're better now. They're better now.
They look great.
So now that I've kind of gotten to that point where, and again, like I don't think mine are at their level, but I'm not trying to. I just wanted it to be better. So like now that I've gotten them a bit better, my focus right now is hair. Like that's the next thing I really want to try to work on and like get better at, because it's just like I don't like with feet like I'm fine with male hair. It's like long hair that like, you know, I just don't know how to even start. Like,
and I watch these people do it, and they have these videos and they make it look so simple, and then when I try it, I'm like, God, this is not going well.
I know.
I'm just gonna scrap it and just wait till later. I'll get to it when I get to it.
When you get to the point where you have no choice, it's probably gonna be when you first step into it, and then I mean, like I'm sure you probably are, especially if you've been an artist for your whole life. Like I can imagine that you're probably your own worst critic. Yeah, or
of course. You know, that's the one thing that's wrong with me is I'm a perfectionist. My wife will tell you it has to be perfect when I do it, and there's a thing that I used to say all the time, and I still say it to this day, and she says it before I say it. Is like, I don't know how I did it. How do I do it? How do I do it? And she's like, of course you have to say it every time. I was like, it's like I put something together. I'm like, how that happen? Exactly.
I know, we can surprise ourselves there's been a lot of times where I finish something and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I got that done. I can't believe I did that. How did that happen? Exactly the same thing, right? So yeah, I know. So hair, I'm with you on that one, man. I have been playing with green stuff more for hair. Like I have Procreate too, but I really struggle with Procreate. I feel like
it's all about the mixture, though. I don't know. The cool thing about Procreate, it's supposed to be able to flex and move.
Yes, it does. So you haven't even broken it out yet?
No, I just bought it. I
honestly,
Just
It's
bought it.
like, I always say it's literally, it's like sculpting with chewed bubblegum. That's what it reminds me of. Like, it doesn't hold detail. It's very, very challenging. So, but it's kind of like a mix between like green stuff and it's not really much like epoxy sculpt. It's like a more difficult to use green stuff. So, but like there's things about it that I like, but yeah, I don't use it a lot. I kind of use it for like loincloths and like thinner fabrics that are going to lay over something. Like that's really all I use it for. When I do hair, even female hair, I've been using green stuff. I just find it a bit more user friendly. So
the thing with green stuff versus Avis epoxy for me is that green stuff is very sticky. It's very tough.
Yes. Yeah.
So using Avis epoxy for so long, it was very hard to transition over. Yeah, for me, because it, like, you know, when I use my tools, they were just like sticking to it. Like it felt like there was soda on the ground that was sitting there for a long time. And you try to walk on it, and you know that's what it felt like every time I was using any of my tools.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's like you can't use water because water on green stuff literally does nothing. So it's just like, yeah. Great comments in here. Christina Marquet Lab says Christina Cohen has such incredible understanding of women figures. It's crazy. Haven't seen anyone even get close. Yeah, the only other person I can think of that does that good a job is like Mike Perez or Phoenix 5 Customs or whatever. His females are pretty damn amazing too.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
his crispy. You want to talk about the shading, everything. It is
everything.
It's another level.
Yeah.
Yes.
They all look like they're models, so that'd be my only complaint is like sometimes they look too doll-like and not superhero-y enough for me. But I mean, they are pretty on point. So I figured we could do a quick, like just a rapid fire, just some questions, just so everyone can kind of get a feel for some of the stuff you're into. So like favorite superhero. Do you have a favorite superhero or a couple favorite superheroes?
2. Iron Man is number 1. Why? I just love robotic type stuff, and the armor was fantastic. Idea. I love that. And number 2, of course, is Spider-Man. I mean, who can't relate to him?
I love me some Spider-Man. I was never a huge Iron Man fan, but definitely love me some Spider-Man.
Man, who didn't want to be at a young age a pretty boy, rich, pull any girl?
I mean, that sounds great.
Yeah, but you know, and have a suit of armor that you can take with you anywhere or call upon it.
What about villains? Favorite villain?
Doc Ock, hands down. I mean, my favorite series in Spider-Man was when he became the Superior Spider-Man. That whole
man,
it was so good.
It actually got me back into comic books.
So I don't know if you know, like the Superior 4, the most recent one that I did. I think the whole purpose. I read it briefly, but I've read so many comics. But I just remember him trying to traverse the multiverse because, you know, he did do that when he was Superior Spider.
Right.
Yes. So he did that in the Spider-Geddon, and then he still remembered that, but he got rid of the memories by giving it up to Mephisto.
Okay.
So he knew Mephisto had it, but he knew it made him a better person. So in Superior 4, that's what he's trying to do, is find the better versions of him to find that part that he's missing when he was Superior Spider.
Oh,
I think that's how it goes. I might be completely wrong. I don't remember, but I think it's something in that context.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, Doc Ock is
I love
favorite.
Superior. I love your custom of Superior Spider-Man too.
The Superior 6.
I hope we get a new one sooner than later, man. I'd love to get an updated, like on a retro buck or something like that. Would be really nice.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
What up, NYC Figure Fanatic? Says, what up, Matt? What up, One Oak? Big fan.
What up? Thanks.
Got lots of fans here tonight. So you're probably, I guess this is relatively easy. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Do you do much DC?
Hands down. Yeah. I don't even touch it. I love don't get me wrong, I still love DC. I just it's in my collection. That's what I actually started with McFarlane. All the Batmans, I had like 20 of them, and I got rid of them. The 7-inch scale is just not for me. It just was. I thought it was going to be good. I couldn't wait for it, and then when it came out, I was like, nah. And if I could go back, the only ones I would have bought right now was probably the Justice League, the cartoon version. I would have probably bought all of those and went back, but it was too late, and I just don't want to spend the money on that.
Don't want to track them down.
This NECA Ninja Turtle stuff is killing my pockets.
Oh, buddy. So that's another one that's on my list. Is your favorite turtle?
Oh, Michelangelo, dude, party dude.
Oh, nice. I feel like it's always like a toss up between like Raph. Well, I mean, I feel like Raph's kind of everyone's favorite, but I'm
My
a
brother's
Donnie
favorite
guy.
too.
I liked Raphael quite a bit as well, but yeah, I was always a Donnie fan. I don't know, just like the nerd in me, and I'm just like,
Of course.
he does machines, you know.
Exactly.
I love it.
Made the party fan.
Did you see that trailer for that Mutant Mayhem?
Oh yeah.
The new
Anything.
cartoon.
Look, I don't care what anybody says. Anything like Puss in Boots is a perfect example of them taking the idea from Into the Spider-Verse. Like the fight scenes in Puss in Boots are done exactly the same, and it is
You're talking about the
fantastic.
more recent one that just came out, right? The
Yes.
new movie?
Have you seen it?
I haven't. I've heard good things though.
Hilarious, and all of the fight scenes are done exactly like Into the Spider-Verse, like the way they fight,
cool.
the whole animation. And then the wolf that's in there is probably one of the coolest looking. I want to make a custom of it one day. But yeah, the new Ninja Turtles is done that way too, and I think it's going to be awesome.
I do too. I'm looking forward to it. I don't. I have a couple little beefs, but I would say they're not enough to like spoil it for me.
I can guarantee you, I know which beef you already have.
Well, I mean, for me, again, being a Donnie fan, I don't love the voice they picked for Donnie. He's like, I feel like it doesn't work, but I don't know. Wait till I get some context and we'll see how I feel.
Yeah, I get it. I'm a Naruto fan through and through, but I only watch it in sub. And then the first time I watched it in dub, I was like, get this shit off of here. That voice is
because it's the voice, right?
Yeah, trash. I mean, it was like nails to the chalkboard. God. I wanted to like it. I just could not.
I guess I could answer your next one probably as well. Favorite toy line?
I have 4 favorite toy lines. So Marvel Legends.
Yep.
NECA. They're Ninja Turtles. Fans Toys Transformers is hands down one of the best and most beautiful things I've ever seen in action figure form. And they're very intricate. They transform. Takes about 2.5 hours to transform a robot, but it's awesome. It takes a long time, and you don't want to break anything. Oh yeah, 100%. And then the last one for me is Bandai and Master Grade Gundams.
Okay, nice. It's a good selection. Yeah, I love the NECA. Do you collect all the NECA turtles, or do you stick to just Toon? Or yeah, you do. Yeah,
I had the movies, and I sold all of those, and I just went with that. And then, yeah. Well, we'll get to this figure here later. So, go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess you kind of answered my next question of what do you collect outside of Marvel Legends. So, what do you have in terms of like work in progress, like current projects on the go? You got anything that you can share? I know we're both working on Secret Santa or Summer Swap, and as I had said to you before we started, because I don't really do any of the administrative stuff on Summer Swap, so like for all I know you could have my list, so it's we can't really share, unfortunate, but yeah, what aside from Summers, have you started your Summer Swap yet? Have you?
Yes, I already have it already kit bashed. Everything's together. I just gotta start sanding and painting and getting rid of all the rub as much as I can without breaking the figure. And of course, that's the infamous thing. It has rub. Yeah, it does. Some of my figures do. I don't care for if it's sitting on my shelf, I won't do it. But if it's something that's very intricate, I shave it all the way down. I make it perfect. As perfect as I can make it.
I said to Token last week when we were talking, like when it's on my shelf, I care less. Like I always try to eliminate all the paint rub, but like if something happens where like it has it and it's just going on my shelf, I don't fix it. I just say fuck it, whatever. I leave it. But if it's going to someone else, I usually do because I just want to make sure the best of my work kind of gets out there, right? So.
With the Secret Swap, like the very first one, I pretty much got rid of most of the rub except for the feet. I couldn't do it. Like anytime I didn't want to make it look uneven. Like so gappy. That was like, So then like the one I did last year or the last 2 years, I got rid of the rub on most of them. But the one from last year, I tried to make it as perfect as possible that you can move it in any direction. I mean, the person that I see that does it the best is, again, Pounds. You see his stuff.
Does a great job.
He could shave that down and make it perfect. But what projects do I have? I have like 50. If you can't really see back here for some reason. The lighting is so
I know.
bad.
It's a bummer
Let
because
me
your
just stand
collection
back
is
here.
so we would notice that when you stand away, it lights up the
There
whole
you
room.
Can you see the shelf right here?
Yeah, we can see that.
So
Hang on, let me give you the whole screen, and then that way we can get a better view.
these 4 are not even complete, but this is going to be my BC Avengers.
Cool.
Yep, they're going to be ready. And on the shelf, I typically put the characters with the group, and then I will make them, as I go, and I'll grab them off the shelf and then put them back together, and paint them and then put them up.
It's a good idea.
So, I'm about team building. It's always about team building.
I am
something
too.
they teach you in the military is all about team building. And I'm the same way with my characters. Have to have the full team. One of the teams, the Masters of Evil, the thing that kind of put a dagger in it right now, where I put a stop to it, which I'm going to finish. I have the characters, like this is going to be Kid Thanos. I got to shave all the parts off of here. I got the gun, the gigantic gun. Is doing the Killmonger, King Killmonger in it, and
I don't know any of these characters, so
King Killmonger wears the Destroyer armor, but he painted it like it's like red.
Oh,
so
cool.
I only have one Destroyer that I just got like 2 months ago, and I'm like, do I want to tear this one up, the Marvel Select? But then hear me out.
The new one.
They had announced the new one, and I was like, you know what? I'll just buy 2 of those when those come out. One on my shelf, and then the other one I could put together.
You can sell Thor, your extra Thor, to New Collector Customs, because New Collector Customs was super bummed. He's like, I don't want Destroyer, but I really want that Thor, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure if you buy it, you'll easily be able to get rid of the Destroyer. I feel like almost everybody wants the Destroyer, and probably not many people want the Thor. So
yeah, I have too many Thors at this point.
Mark A. Lab Creation said your Sinister set made me want to look into it. Your skull was magnificent.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that one again, those little simple things. I just took the body of Venom and just threw the Bath Red Skull head on there and just painted it, and it was done. That was a one night thing.
Yeah, easy peasy, right?
Yeah. So yeah,
I really enjoy. Last year I did quite a few like easier customs. By that I mean like I didn't have to fully prep all the joints, because a lot of them I just kept the plastic the same. For for the longest time I didn't do that, right? I would prep everything even if I was just going to paint it the same color. But last year I did maybe like 4 or 5 easy customs in a row, and like, man, I had so much fun doing them. Like, I was like, why do I keep taking on these crazy projects? Like, just would much rather do like these simple things that are just, they add so much to your display, and they're simple and they're fast. And
that's why I jump from building characters. I push off the hard ones till later. Or if I see something that no one else has done, I want to do it first. Totally. It sounds so bad, but I mean, I just like to be first. Like,
I mean, it draws attention. And obviously it works, because we had Neil saying earlier that like that's one of the coolest things about you is like he'll finish reading something and all of a sudden you've got a custom of it, and it's like, oh yeah, holy fuck, that was quick.
Yo, when that Avengers, like, I mean, that was not too long ago. Yeah, I saw that right away, Doom and all them together. I was like, yo, that's where
we're doing that.
So I mean, I went back, and there's the Dracula portion of that whole time frame in that Avengers series where they had like Dracula's like family, like there's like a dog, a bat, all that stuff. I want to do that set too, and and like the main person, which is Dracula's son in there, he has like a old school like war gas mask, and cool. I want to do that, but I'm going to use probably, again, the thing that sucks is the 7-inch figure is one of the Warhammer figures, but I'm going to have to figure out a way to cut it down a little bit to make it fit. Yeah. But he was pretty big in there, so sometimes some of those
you might be able to fudge it. Yeah, you might be able to fudge it. So
for sure.
Do you have like, so we talked a little bit about the hot glue. You use the hot glue method quite regularly, it seems. How did that start? And like, when I had mentioned to you originally coming on here, we talked about the hot glue and how everybody was asking about it, and you're like, man, it's so you're like, you'll laugh when you see how easy it is. But like, I don't know, man. Easy, man. Like you make it look pretty damn pro.
So anything that I look at, remember I told you, like, a little bit of a perfectionist. Like, if it doesn't look right, I'm not going to do it. As an artist, like drawing wise, in my head, I can't put it on paper. It sounds weird, but anything I see, I could draw.
Right.
It's funny. It's like a weird thing. So with this, like looking at fire, it flows weird, right? It flows left and right, up and down. What I've noticed a lot of people do is they just put the hot glue on it and they just push it back and they leave it, and there's these big bubbles, right?
Right.
Fire doesn't have bubbles. They flow. They have sharp lines in it, and they just move all over the place. And so what I do, if you want to put the figure back here real quick to me,
Yeah, for sure,
is I'll show you. So I'm going to show a little bit of a whip, I guess you could say. So what I do is, if you start off with any type of head or anything, the biggest thing is when you do any skull, any type of head that you're going to do flames on, you don't want to put it past, like if a hairline, you want to put it just before that. You put it too close, it just doesn't look right. You put it too wide out, it doesn't look right either. It looks like an afro instead of fire.
It's a fire afro.
Yeah, but you want it to flow in different directions. And so what I do, which this is on, so is when I put it on, you know, you just put where you're going to have it. I don't know if you could see that.
Yep.
So when it's in, so people typically just leave it like this. What you do is you take this metal tip and you run it through as it's drying.
Oh, and then it melts it again.
And then it looks like it's fire flowing backwards. Oh shit, wrong way.
Nice.
And you just keep on building that up. And what I do is I go all the way around first. And then when I go all the way around where I want it, I mean, this is how fast I'm flowing with it too. Like I don't sit.
So like you're not zipping through this to show us. That's just like actually.
Yeah, typically how fast I go. And then I let it sit. And then even when it's completely dry, you could still run the tip through it and it will still move.
Make a mark, kind of.
Yep. And then when you do any of like the back part, like, so if I'm building this up, I would just
you do
build it up like this. Yep. Just let it sit. And then what you do is you poke it and then see how it's coming up like if it was fire.
Yep.
And you got to blow on it. Like you said, instead of handies, you got to blow on it. That's the difference between the two.
Oh, man.
And then when that sits, you just let it sit there, let it dry, and then you can manipulate it just a little bit on what direction you want it to go. And I just let it go wherever it goes.
That's so cool. I did flames
Still blowing.
I did flames on a toaster one time for an accessory for a figure. Mm-hmm. And it turned out okay, but yeah, I could definitely tell it was hot glue. Like that looks fucking awesome.
So you just sit it like this. And then you just, once that dries, even when you put more glue on it, you could still manipulate it in a direction that you like, right? And then once it's hardened, what I do is now that I have the direction, just say, for example, I'm doing this direction where I'm just having it flow up. So it looks like a flame already. And then you just build up on the sides of them like this and let it sit.
So that won't melt again when you go back to it?
Not the second time unless you put the tip in it. And then there you go. See how it's starting to build up on each side? I told you it's super simple.
You're blowing Fred's mind right now.
it's that simple. Like you just got to understand how the fire works. If it flows all different directions, let it flow.
Man, you know? That's crazy.
So, and then like you see how it's all bubbled right in there. It's just a bubble.
Yep.
So if I
just get that out with the tip of it.
Yep. You just
the tip.
Yep, just the tip. You know, a little blowing and just the tip. And then now look at that corner right there. See how it almost...
Yeah.
Damn. There you go.
I know it's hard because you're all... There's Marcus Yee says, there's a good amount of innuendos in here. Balance as everything should be, he says.
But here, we could still talk and I'm just going to go through this and I'll just show you a finished product.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's so cool, man. I didn't realize it was that. I never thought of using the tip of the glue gun to like almost sculpt into the glue. Like I didn't even think that would be, I don't know why I didn't, but
a little tip never hurt anybody, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man. That's great. So one of the other things you had mentioned before we started was you talked about when we were looking at your work, when I was looking at your work with Brock,
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned that you use a cry cut. Is that how you say it? Cry cut or a cree cut or
A cricket,
cricket?
a
Okay.
crick cut, basically a
Is that
cricket.
like that's like a vinyl sticker, right?
Yeah, it's a vinyl cutter. That was my old thing that I used, but that was actually my wife's that she uses that I use on like really
Okay.
small projects. But I do vinyl designs for cars and t-shirts, so I make my own
Oh,
t-shirts
cool.
and
Cool.
stuff. So I have like a heat press. Man, I tell you what, I do everything. So I work on cars, I paint cars, I draw people's tattoos, I do
Cool.
woodworking, and I do this, right? So, another thing that supported my hobby throughout the years is that I did all these side jobs, and that money I would give half to my wife, and the other half I put into my action figure collection. And that's how I
Nice.
afforded all of this stuff, was I was working double time. At
Oh,
night,
okay.
it wasn't doing this, it was making money to
Woodworking
buy more of
or
these. The
cool.
more
That's
money that
awesome.
I could not spend of my family's money, and again, when I sell something or make something, I was
Yep.
giving half to the family, the other half I'm keeping to myself.
Nice. That's a good way to do it.
But
I have a,
but okay,
admiration for people who do woodworking because my father, he passed away right before COVID.
sorry to hear
But
that.
it's for the best. He was fairly sick. But for the
Gotcha.
like pretty much my whole life, he was a carpenter. Like that was his side hustle. Like he
Yeah.
worked in the bakery world. Conveniently, that I also work in the bakery world.
My dad was in the
Apple doesn't.
military.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, so and then like his side gig was he would make, everything from like birdhouses, mailboxes, benches, shelves. Like he did a lot of like more like farmer style kind of stuff. But like he would do woodworking, and it's like you said, you have your garage set up. Like he had the garage set up, and like I would go in and basically do all his bitch work. So like he would buy like the shittiest wood, and then me and my brother would sand it, plane it, plank it, sand it, plane it.
I hated
Like
doing that for
oh
so many
god, and he
years.
would pay us like nothing, but like it was good work ethic for us, right? Because like we were doing it
Hmm.
when we were like 12, 13, 14 kind of thing. um but yeah, so it's like I have this like admiration for people. Like I don't really have it in me. Those skills never transferred to me. So I can get by on some stuff, but like you'd never want me to like make you a shelf or hang it. Like just would be bad. So
Most of that is just following directions, is what I've learned throughout the years. I mean, unless I'm making a special piece, I don't like to reinvent the wheel. There's a ton of videos on YouTube.
yeah, on how to
You
do it
know,
right already, right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest reason that I got away, because there was a while there where like I was trying to like I kind of wanted to go into something in construction, especially because I was doing so much with him. And
Hmm.
then my interest for using power tools vanished quickly when my father, he was running a piece of plywood through a table saw, and his legs gave out, and he put his hand this way into the blade, and it cut up his into his fingers and up, and it was fucked up. And like I
Oh,
saw the aftermath, and I was just like, all right, I don't ever want to touch a table saw ever again. Like never again. And I never did. Like I just
that terrifies me more than anything. Cutting off my fingers.
I remember waking up to, I was upstairs and the garage entrance was right under my room. And I remember hearing like like banging, banging, banging on the floor. And it woke me up, and I was so pissed. I get downstairs like, what the fuck is going on down here?
I would have
And
passed
like I
out.
just see this trail of blood going from the garage to the bathroom, and my grandma's running around like C3PO, like, oh my god.
I mean, I would be too. I'd probably be on the floor, passed out. Like I said, I see that much blood and a finger split.
She's like, your dad cut his finger off. Go and get the finger and put it on ice. And I'm just like, oh my god, I don't think I can do that. I'm looking at this table saw covered in blood, and I'm like trying to find his finger, and I can't find it anywhere, and only to discover that like he didn't actually cut it off, he cut into it. And I was just like,
Ugh,
yeah, yeah,
that
so
hurts. That
gross. So I
pains.
never touched a table saw or like any real powerful saw ever again. So the first time I did was when I picked up a Dremel to, and like even then, like it took a while to kind of get used to it, right? Because I remember when my dad when he taught me how to use a rotary, like a router, he was always telling me, he's like, man, these are one of the most powerful tools in the whole shop. He's like,
Oh
it
yeah.
might not seem as dangerous as a table saw, but he's like, it has the power to like pull a finger off. So he's like, you need to be really smart about what you're doing. You need to be mindful. You need to watch your hands, and if you have any jewelry on, you want to keep that away, kind of thing, right?
You can strip your
So,
finger off. I'm very like all the stuff that I have. Like I have safety tools for everything.
Everything, yeah, that's good.
I'm a sled, whatever the case may be. I have these like rubber and plastic holders for the wood when you push it through. I don't want
like
my
you don't
fingers.
get the kickback or anything too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I am terrified of kickback. It happened to me one time, and that's why I bought it. I was luckily standing to the side, and I wish I was still in my old house. The piece of wood, it was only this thick. It was plywood, and I was running it through, and it curved onto the blade, and it caused it to kick back, and it put a divot into the other door that was probably a quarter of an inch deep. Imagine that's wood into wood. If that was my stomach, it would have penetrated my stomach.
Yeah,
and that's not the type of penetration I like.
Wrong kind.
Yeah.
So I'm just I like, that was where the woodworking thing kind of ended, and I was like, hey, what else we got? Let's stick with this bakery thing, I guess. So
like, I'm not going to go any further with this, but
I'll give you the screen again.
What I use is Tamiya clear yellow.
Great choices.
And orange, but I mean, whatever flame color you're using. But here's the like quick finish product. That took me like 2 minutes to do.
That looks amazing.
So like, this is more of like if you're a walking pose, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and the
you get like the wind kind of blowing it around the head, kind of thing, right?
Or if this is, because this is going to be a Professor Xavier, like the one that you.
Oh, is that the one? Gotcha.
That's the body that I'm using. And then here, I'll just paint it real quick so you can see how I do that. It's super simple. Again, it's just clear. You nailed it the last time you said it. It's just yellow and then highlights of orange.
Nice.
So
when I did my flaming toaster, I did use Tamiya clear yellow and orange as well. But I use this product here as well. It's a paint. It's not easy to find anymore. It's called P3.
Yeah.
And they do washes, but they call them inks. And this is a blazing ink. So when it goes on, it kind of highlights the edges of everything orange, and everything else kind of sets into like a golden yellow. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I love P3, man. I can't find it in Canada anywhere. Can't find it. So I've kind of given up. But yeah, this ink that I got,
my buddy
was like one of the last one. Did he? Yeah. I love their whites, their blacks, their blues, and their yellows are all amazing. They have such good coverage.
So for me, the best, I will never use any other color black instead of black and white. My two favorites. It's gonna be, again, I'm gonna throw it out to Pounds because he's the one who told me about it. Is the Model Masters, and they're discontinued them. But like he said just recently, you could buy like the packs that are really small bottles. They're the exact same. I suggest that to any customizer. They're the most crispiest, and the paint actually flexes. What I mean is that like if you were to like paint it
like
and chip off, it's like plasti dip almost.
That's cool. I never got to work with Model Masters because I could never find it here when I started customizing. And I did use Tester's Dull Coat. That was kind of my go-to clear coat. But I didn't actually realize that they were discontinuing it until I couldn't find it anymore. I was like, I can't find it.
So the best clear coat was from Kit Bash Customs. Is Hobby Lobby's clear coat that they have, matte coat.
Okay.
And that's what I use now. And he suggested it. I went and bought it, and it's actually my favorite. What I usually use, which I'm finding out after 2 to 3 years, it starts to fade out to where it makes plastic after time has moisture in it, right? And it tries to bleed out and it gets sticky. But mostly when you use Tamiya's clear coat, which is like my favorite, it looks crispy, but after 2 or 3 years, some parts of the plastic
foggy
and shiny, like it's like oil is all over it.
I've recently, once I kind of got over Dull Coat, I hopped around a lot and found varying results. I couldn't really find anything I like. I ultimately ended up on Liquid X. I started with a matte coat, but I've as more recently switched to a satin finish for like a satin varnish. But my new thing is I kind of start with that to kind of get everything the protection it needs, and then I hit it with Pledge Floor Care, which is what I use to tighten my joints, and like it gives it like this like official Marvel Legends kind of sheen to it that I really like. If you go too heavy, it's too glossy. But it's like I use it through an airbrush, so it's like I do like a pretty like distanced overspray on it, and it really brings the colors out. It really makes it pop. So
that's the thing, right? Is finding the best like color to match your Marvel Legends, like the sheen on it, because sometimes like you'll have a nice dull looking cool Chris, and you put it right next to the teammate, and it
looks weird, right?
Yeah, it's like, man, this is kind of out of place.
Yeah. Fred Soriano says, newsflash, Johannes and Michaels experience shortage of hot glue guns. Kilo Echo says, testers are the best paint for customs, I think, personally, too. Yeah. I wish I had a chance. I never got to use them. And Fred said, since you're talking paints, thoughts on products for chrome like Silver Surfer? What do you use for chrome?
I don't use chrome, so what I use is Citadel's Lead Belcher for most of my stuff. It has like a darker color. Chrome is cool. I think it looks awesome. Like if you were to use it, like you said, Silver Surfer and Colossus, anything like that. But after time goes on, you smear it, your hands get all
loses
over it.
Its luster. Yeah.
After time, it dulls out. It's just like white, right? Like this white on this figure. Like I can't, if I even touch it with my bare hands, it will, since it's a dull coat, my hand, it starts turning brown. So I try to hold it with like gloves
by the
on.
arms or yeah. I know white's a tricky one too, because it definitely shows its age, and the more you handle it, the more it's obvious that you've handled it.
Oh yeah.
So
that happened with like 4 of my figures, and I had to repaint it. And another thing that if I give anybody advice, and some people might kill me out there, do not dye your figures. Every figure that I have dyed has bled through.
Bleeds
every time, and after repainting it, it still bleeds through, and then a year later you repaint it and it still bleeds through.
I talk about it on this channel. I talk about it on this channel a lot. I'm in my summer swap helper group, and I have a bunch of newbies in my group. Draven conveniently put me with a bunch of all new people to the event to kind of keep
that was me last year.
Was it?
Yeah.
And so they're talking about dying, and I keep saying to them, like, guys, if you plan on painting over that, you do not want to dye it. Like I kind of
screwing over the next person.
I kind of reserve dye. I do use dye, but I reserve it for specific things: knee joints, elbow joints, shoulder joints. If I'm going to be painting the exact same color over top,
that is all I use it for too. I was going to say that next.
Weapons, like same thing, but like even being mindful of that, like I dyed a gun from like gold to black. And it looked awesome. And then when I put it in a figure's hand and I took it out, the inside of his hand was all black. It was all dyed black. And it was like a skin colored hand. And I was just like, oh, that's dead now.
My Purple Man was the first one I did. Was Purple Man. I just dyed the whole thing, even the suit, everything. I was like, it's going to be purple. It's cool. Man, 1 year later, it was back to almost the same color as it originally was. I was like, God, it looks so good when I first got it.
I know. But I made an awesome Venom. Same thing. I made an awesome. Oh, yeah, that looks fucking great. Hang on. I'm going to give you the screen. Oops. Oh, shit. Sorry. There you go. Man, that looks so good.
That took me like 8 minutes, 9 minutes.
And it looks awesome.
There you go.
Man, that looks so fucking good. Nicely done.
Yeah. I told you it's super simple. Like it's just you just got to keep running, but you have to get one of these with the metal tip. Some people like I have.
They have some that have like the porcelain tip or the not plastic, but it's like porcelain, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You want to get the ones
that have metal.
Oh yeah, and then clean it off after you're done. That's the big thing too.
Yeah.
So then you don't have it because then it'll be stringing all the time.
Of course.
And then unplug it.
Fred, if you aren't following Collector Express, he recently did or I think he's working on a tutorial. He just tried something new for Chrome. It's called graphite powder. And he said he obviously can't confirm on if it loses its luster or not, but because he's just recently started playing with it. But have you ever seen any of his stuff, Hans? Have you ever seen Collector Express?
I believe so.
Yeah,
There's so many.
he just did. I know there's so many of us. He just did a Silver Surfer. He did an AOA Iceman with it. He did a bunch of weapons and stuff. But like, man, the finish on it is just beautiful. And it's not a paint. It's like a powder, and you have to like buff it out basically. So you apply it, and then you buff it out to like get the shine on it. But man, it's pretty impressive.
Let me see real quick.
I think on Instagram his name is 1980. If you just search for Collector Express, it should come up. I think his actual name on Instagram is like 1987 olds 411 or something like that. That's definitely not right, but something along those lines. If you don't, I can tag you in it.
Yeah, just tag me in it.
Yeah, I will.
All right. So that's as simple as it is, man.
Man,
I mean,
great job. Yeah.
Did I tell you that I said it's going to be a simple, like, it's like, bro,
I didn't.
Everyone's like, how you do it? I was like, it's hot glue and run your tip through it. Everyone's like, run your tip through it.
Run your tip through it. Oh, dear.
Yeah, the tip. So
that's funny.
That here, I'll just show a couple that I did do. This was actually like my second one I did. Doing the mouth with the fire that comes out.
That looks good.
This isn't the body I used. This is just something I have right now that it's just sitting on, because I got another head that I put in the car, which I 3D printed and put that one together.
Yeah, I saw that. That's fucking crazy.
Here's another Robbie Reyes venomized. So nice. Again, coming out of the mouth, the tongue is on fire too. So good. I mean, this one took a little bit longer because I wanted to make the fire go in certain directions. So, like with this side, it was too far out, and I just melted it back into the side of the head.
Sure.
And then so it gives it that look. My very first, this is actually my very first fire that I did was on the Caretaker style. And like you could tell the difference in how I did it before, where you see, remember I said it was like bubbled?
Right.
Like I didn't do it with this one. This was like my first time trying it, and this was like the first style. If I could go back and do it, which I probably will later, but I got too many customs to do. This looks great on the shelf by itself.
Yeah, I was gonna say it still looks good as is, but.
And then I just did this one the other day. I wanted to give it more of like a higher look, with
I saw your
two flames.
Repost. Yeah, that's fucking great, man. That looks so good.
Yeah,
I love it. You nail that shit.
But it's that simple.
Kilo Echo says you're a glue bender, brother. Looks dope.
Yep, that's the new no earth, no air, just glue bending.
Valentine Figueroa says, what do you use to seal the figures? We were just talking about that, but I use Liquitex matte or satin varnish, and then I use through an airbrush, and then I use Pledge Floor Care through an airbrush afterwards. And this is what Mr. Super Clear.
This is another one that I use as well, which I get
at Hobby Lobby. That's not the Hobby Lobby one, though, is it?
No, it's not the Hobby Lobby one. That one's upstairs outside in the garage, but this is another one that I use that could work really well, and that's actually at Hobby Lobby, but you could also buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, we don't have Hobby Lobbies here in Canada, so.
Oof, sorry. Limited. And then also the one thing that I do want to say is you want to get the crystal clear glue.
Glue?
Yes. And the more you mess with it while it's hot, it starts getting foggy. So you got to let it do its thing. You don't like it? Here, I'll tell you this. If you didn't like the way that this turned out, just take a pair of scissors and cut it off and then rebuild it.
Gotcha.
Because you could remelt the other parts into it. Because if you do, like I said, if you keep moving it, it's going to be so foggy. It's going to look like this on the head. See how foggy that looks?
Yeah. So you don't really get the transparency like you get on that one.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Lessons learned. Throughout.
Man, that's so cool. I mean, I love when I do these episodes and I learn shit. So that's awesome. So
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. No.
I was going to ask another question, so yours is probably relevant to what we were talking about. So you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, all the stuff that I use, it's all on my, I'm going to put this out there because I've never done it before, but on my page, on Instagram, you could go to the link that I have there that goes to my Amazon page, and everything I use, every tool I use, every paint I use, not all the colors, it's all on there. Just click it. You can
Oh,
order it from
nice.
there.
Like an
It's
affiliate
not
link,
more,
right?
yeah, and it's not more
Nice.
expensive. It's a storefront.
Yep.
It just, it doesn't cost more to you, but that's where if you want to go. So what I've been doing is whatever character I'm doing, I'm going to start putting it on there with every tool I use per each character.
That's
And then you just
awesome.
click it so you know what you need to use to buy it. It's just like the samurai. Let me bring that one over here real quick.
Sure. Mark A. Lab Creation says, "Gotta jump. A pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you very much for stopping by, man. Really appreciate it. Nice to see you on here. Have a good night."
Yeah. Have a good night, brother.
Yeah, I love that thing, man. That's so nice.
This suit is actually on Amazon for like $16.
Oh wow, really? That's just soft goods?
Yep, soft goods, the pants and the shirt, and then I 3D printed this and used, actually I think I used green stuff on this. This is green stuff. This is 3D printed, and then that's pretty much it, and the rest is cloth that I put together.
Yeah, that's fucking really nice, man.
I made this out of wood too. Wood and rope.
What? The wooden
some balsa wood. Yeah.
Nice. I don't think Draven would watch this because I think he's too busy to watch these. But yeah, I have a project I'm working on that I actually need to do something very similar to that. So, and it's for him. So hopefully he doesn't watch this because he'll probably figure out what I'm making for him. But yeah. Oops, I don't think he watches. So I think we're safe. So you've obviously made a lot of customs. Do you have any ones that kind of stand out as your favorites? Or like, are there anything in your collection that you've done that you're just beyond proud of, or it stands out to you for a certain reason? And why is that? What makes it your favorite?
Yeah, I got that right here.
How convenient.
It's all about being convenient, the convenience of everything, right?
It's so weird that you had that ready.
So this is what is it? Supreme Oct from the Superior 4.
Good Lord. I'm going to give you the screen again here.
So this one I love because I did a lot of sculpting on it, and I really wanted to do it. I used multiple parts, soft goods, using Warbler, which is a material you could get from like Michael's, Hobby Lobby. You could order it on Amazon. What it is you could cut it, heat it, and mold it to whatever. It does leave like a grain to it. If you could see there, I can't really tell, but you can sand it off.
Not really.
I didn't feel like doing that. With this one, I use magnets.
Oh, nice. I think I vaguely remember the magnet thing and maybe a story or something like that. So.
I did, yeah. So this is probably one of the ones that I tried doing everything to it and making it perfect, is because when I saw it, I was like, I'm in love with this character.
I'm doing this,
and I have to get this done. And if I would say like my second, there's a lot of ones that I did that I really do enjoy and I do love, but the other one that I would say is let me grab it.
See, whenever you get up, we get a nice view of that whole room, man. That's a fucking nice room. I remember when you were setting that up, and I kept messaging you and be like, I'm fucking jealous of your little space.
I wish I had more room. I tell you what, me and my wife, we started off with, she was a social worker in Ferguson, Missouri, right before all that stuff kicked off. And I was like a GS7 on base, making like $13 an hour, which was pretty good, but we both had kids. It's actually more than $13 an hour, but we didn't have a lot. We were renting houses. We didn't have enough space, but I was fortunate enough. We worked hard and we moved up in our careers, and we were able to afford a better house. And I thank God every day that I have this opportunity. But going back to this is actually like my second favorite. It took like 7 figures to kit bash, but there's something about Agent Venom, and it was very spiky and had all the different things. But when you had the anti-Agent Venom or Agent Anti-Venom, whatever you want to say, was a very smooth and clean look to it. And for some reason, this is the only chromish color that I used, which is still a Citadel color.
Nice. That looks fucking really good, man.
And then if we want to talk about it, again, all this black that's on here, except for the shoulder pads, is all vinyl.
Wow, that's so, like, I'm just so amazed that is that smooth. I would never think that it could be that smooth.
I don't know if you could see the lines now if I put it up close. Yeah, there you go.
Not really though, man. Honestly, like I'm looking for it and I can't see it. Maybe it's more obvious in person, but
yeah, the legs too.
Damn,
they're black.
That's clean as hell.
Yeah, there's something about this figure that I love a lot, and I don't know what it is, but every time I look at it, I like, this is one of those ones that it's like, it's so simple, but it's beautiful. And this is that figure.
That's really, really nice, man. That's so nice. Like, the thing is like, just even to get the whites that clean, it's not always the easiest. Collector Express is in the house. He must have seen me tag you. What's up, man? How you doing, Jared? Hope you're doing well. NYC Figure Fanatic said, you guys know if the flat Mr. Hobby top coat works as well as the super clear? It's in a blue can. I don't have a Hobby Lobby here, I have never used Mr. Hobby top coat, so I can't say anything. But
the Mr. Hobby is good. I've only started using it this past like 6-7 months, but then, like I said, I watched Kit Bash Customs, and he put out the other flat coat, and that one works 10 times better to me. And it's cheaper, and there's a lot more in it, and I can't tell you because I haven't had it sit on a shelf for a year or two,
right?
But I can tell you the difference, and I can show you, like, here's one that I did, and after time, this was like 2 years ago, you could see it you see how shiny, and that's all sticky, right? From it sitting on the shelf for so long. And I mean, I'm gonna get back to it and retouch it up, but I just don't have the time to do it. Like I said, I have too many projects.
Yeah, fair.
But enough. I mean, this is sticky.
Yeah. I find it can be like, I always kind of tell everybody, if you're ever in doubt and you can't get a solid answer, take an extra hand, put a little paint on it, and throw some clear coat on it. Something that is not going to ruin it if you decide to try it out. Like, I always tell everybody to try an unsuspecting spot. Maybe you don't do it on the figure. Maybe do it on, like, an extra hand or an extra head, but try to keep the materials the same, right? The plastics react differently, so the hard torso is going to react differently than the softer other parts are going to.
The softer parts, the softer parts are the ones that turn into
absorb more, right?
They bleed more in the future.
Yes, yeah.
But I do want to show this one off. This is when Life with Brock basically told you that he featured me, and that's actually what got me kickstarted, me posting it on there, and then he found it and he put me on and posted me up as a thumbnail. People started following me. I went from like 100 followers to like 3,000 followers or two, and this was the figure that I did.
Oh, I do remember this.
And this was like my 4th or 5th custom that I did, and it's pretty much a kit bash. That's all it is.
Nice. Looks
except great. For, of course, I mean, like, simple things like this, I didn't want to put it on, but
right. Yeah, that looks awesome. It's like Gunslinger Spider-Man.
Web Slinger.
I love it. Web Slinger. I like that. NYC said, which was the one you said Kit Bash Custom put you onto?
It's Hobby Lobby's Matte Clear. It's their brand. So if you go to Hobby Lobby, go to their spray paints. It's right there in the clear coating area, and it's like a green bottle. If you go to Kit Bash Customs, subscribe and look at his page, and you'll see it on there. All right. There's a video somewhere.
There you have it. Collector Express says, did someone say chrome? we were talking about chrome, and then you came up, so that's funny enough. Yeah, you can't stop. I know you can't stop. Marcus E said, oh man, I always wanted to try Warbler, can't find it at a good price. It is pretty expensive. I bought a little sheet of it for like, I think it was like 10 or 12 bucks, and I was like, oh, holy fuck, expensive. Have you ever used thermo wax before?
No, I have not.
I think it's comparable, but I don't want to say that for sure because I haven't actually had a chance to play with the Warbler I bought. But it's kind of like you heat it up in hot water.
I've seen it. Yes.
I don't think it takes paint very well, but they have it in like every color under the sun. Like, it's.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I use it for like making new sockets for like heads and hands and stuff like that mostly.
That's
But
definitely something I need to do, right? Buying new sockets or making new sockets,
yeah,
all that stuff. Like, man,
yeah,
when I break a peg, I'm just like, man, what do I do?
I
My
know.
old way was just like putting a metal rod in it and then gluing
Yep,
it, and then it's fine for a while, but then when you mess with it too much, it
it
just
starts
breaks
to
off.
get
And like,
loose.
and then you got
Yeah,
to sand it all back down. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot
I
of
know.
little things that you have to get used to or try to figure out and not mess with. But
Interesting.
Warbler I got for cheap because Michael does like a 40% off, a
Yes, they
20%
use their
off.
stickers or their coupons or
Yep.
whatever.
And one day it was like 50% off, and I walked in. I was like, I'm going to get that Warbler since it's 50% off right now. And that's what I got.
Thanks, NYC Figure Fanatic. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying up and hanging out. So, Collector Express said the Mr. Hobby clears do look good, but I've noticed it can crack on softer rubbery parts like coats and etc. So, I feel like that happens a lot of the times. You know what I used to use when I would paint like softer? I used to mix in to my paints liquid latex.
Yes.
And it really helped a lot. So
yeah, and that's why that Model Masters is almost like a liquid latex.
because
That's
it
the
has
word.
it has that like kind of rubbery.
It stretches. It literally stretches, and it's awesome.
Yeah, Marcus said ThermoX is quite finicky to work with. Had a couple tries to modify a few sockets. I had sent Marcus a little bit to try and see, and he had mentioned he wasn't having as much luck with it as I was. I still use hot glue a lot as well. If I can't get it, I feel like hot glue's good. Hey, your vaping thing reminds me. I just bought this. I don't usually do like toy things, but have you seen this figure?
Oh yeah,
dude, this thing is so cool, and he fucking.
And what is
vapes.
it? What is it?
Vapes.
29? What is it? $29 for that?
Yeah, I think here it was 45. I think Canadian. So
and then I
whatever
paid
that
like.
equates to. It's so cool,
thing,
man. I just
I
love
know,
it.
it's beautiful.
It actually, I'm in anticipation of the Jada Toys Street Fighter and Mega Man lines coming out. I'm gonna expand I have one shelf that has Street Fighter stuff on it now, so I'm gonna expand that to give it like a whole shelf and do like a video game shelf kind of. Not yet. We'll see. I love Marvel vs. Capcom, but I don't want to make a second Jim Lee shelf because I already have a full Jim Lee shelf. But so after I bought this Bowser, I was like, I need a Mario and Luigi. So last night I was I went on eBay and I found a really good deal on a Figuarts Luigi and Mario and bought both. And then I bought a Figma Link from Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, and that Figma Link is amazing. But I mean, I did have to buy these two.
Are those Figuarts?
No, these are the ones from
the Jacks.
Yeah, the $10 figures or whatever they are here.
Yeah. Those are cool. Those are cool figures, eh? Yeah, I've heard that. Are those the movie ones or are those just the?
No, this is the ones before the movie. Cool. The movie ones are a little bit bigger than these.
Yes, I saw the movie ones comparatively, and I was like, that's too big for what I want. So, yeah, 420 Bowser. Yeah, totally. So that was a big selling point for me. I was just like, oh, he tokes. That's fun. I like that.
It is fun.
So yeah, and then the Figma Link I got was the kind of like more cartoony looking one. Like he looks like younger, skinny, and he kind of has like all the extra accessories. He has like the rupee and the bomb and like the grappling chain or whatever. I can't remember what game it's from.
The original style, not the
not the more updated, like realistic looking. He looks more toonish.
So I like that one, but they also make like a chibi style. Have you seen the one that they made that like has a big head? That thing is awesome too. I want to get one in the future if I can find it.
My wife's a big Zelda fan. To me, it was more just like I want to fill it out with characters that I don't really play a lot of games now, but like it's like all of my love for it is nostalgic based, right?
So prior to doing this, I was a gamer, and what got me into gaming was Zelda, which is my favorite video game of all time, like the original. Zelda.
The original for Nintendo, the old one?
Yeah, the Nintendo one was like what got me into it. But of course, you know, when you played, Ocarina of Time, which is hands down my favorite.
That was the last one I played and like was into. Yeah.
Yeah, I beat Breath of the Wild, which was, to me, a lot of people love it, but I love the old school big dungeon, type deal where this had like, small shrines, which was cool, which I'm going to play the new one again because, I'm a diehard Zelda fan. Sure. But prior to this, I was playing Destiny 1 and 2, and I put way too many hours.
Oh, I think you froze or I froze. Let's see what happens here for a second. Usually when I freeze, it tells me I'm frozen with a little sign up at the top that says, you have no internet. Is anybody hearing this right now, or am I frozen, or is One Oak frozen? Anyone can drop a message. Oh, we're almost back.
There you go.
There we go. There you go. Someone said rip One Oak Customs. That's funny. So, do you MCU at all, or is that?
Oh, of course I do. I've watched pretty much everything. The only thing I haven't watched is She-Hulk. I mean, I watched the first episode and I wasn't a fan.
It wasn't for you.
No.
Fair enough.
Not
Definitely
my style.
different. Definitely different for sure. Do you have a favorite movie
Thor
or couple? Yeah, man.
Thor
Fuck yeah.
Hands down the best Marvel MCU movie. The newest one, Love and Thunder, to me is pretty much trash.
Me too.
But I would say that's my number one movie style, but my number one Marvel movie, again, I've already said it earlier, but I didn't say it was my favorite, was Into the Spider-Verse. Hands down, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I love Spider-Verse. I think Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Like, I like it a lot. So
No Way Home would be the second one after that.
Yep,
but,
I like No Way Home a lot too. So
but I've watched all the movies.
Have you? Yeah, you're up to date other than She-Hulk. You didn't miss anything. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Guardians fan, so oh, you didn't watch Miss Marvel? You know what? I went into Miss Marvel thinking I was not going to be for me, and I think it really helped the experience because I ended up really enjoying it. But
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch that one, but I'm not gonna watch She-Hulk. I just didn't like the first episode.
You're not missing anything, man. She-Hulk was just whatever, and like, to be honest with you, like, the whole ending of it was like it was a complete mess.
Yeah, everyone told me it was trash, and I'm a diehard Marvel fan. And when it comes to like the very first episode where she was just like, "I'm better than you," it's like, bro, you know what struggle that man went throughout all these years of us watching him, losing everything, going chaotic, and then you're just like, yeah, I'm just better than you. And you know, a lot of my friends say like, oh, they're cousins, you know, that's what they do. I was like, I get that, but I mean, like, to downplay him that much to where like he was a clown in that first episode, like she had to save him, and then she got the blood in her, like it was just like, man, everything's like ass backwards.
That's fair, man. That's a fair assessment. I feel like, you know, like my I recently just sold off my, like, you can see this big gap over my shoulder here is where all my MCU figures were, and I just sold off all, like, everything, right? And it's just I'm hoping that the MCU can kind of get me back. It's not to say that I won't, like, you know, I'll always be a fanboy because, you know, like, we're in this age where like we're seeing comic books play out on the big screen, and like, to me, even though I feel like the storylines aren't as compelling as they were pre-Endgame, like, the parts I like about the MCU right now is like, I feel like they're not shying away from doing really comic booky things. Like, I think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and I'm just like, it's like just a comic book on screen, and it's like they're not shying away from like the craziness of it at all. Like, that, you know, where like phase 1 and 2 felt like semi-grounded, I feel like, you know, they've kind of moved beyond that at this point. Like, even in costumes, right? You know, they used to play everything kind of safe. Hawkeye wore, like, you know, black, like, tech suit, right? And it was just like, you know, like, it was just super grounded, based in reality. And now it's just like, let's deck them out in purple. Let's and it's just like, I can appreciate that they're embracing like the kookiness of the comic book world, but it's just the stories right now for me, they're just not.
I'll tell you why they're not compelling. But the thing is, in phase 1 and phase 2, we did a lot of character building, right?
Yes,
phase 3 and 4, it was just such good writing, good storytelling. And now all the characters is like, you know, we watched them go from nothing to something amazing throughout every hardship they had to go through, what Tony went through that whole thing. And then all of a sudden now all these new characters, they're just better. They're just good right off the back. And it's like, yo, how do I get to relate to any of these people? You know, when you start from the gutter and you get all the way to the top, you know, watching it happen and unfold, they make bad mistakes, good mistakes. You think to yourself, man, I wouldn't have done that, but this is how I would do it if I was this character. Which these new ones, they don't make mistakes. Like, they barely make mistakes. it's just like, Loki, I love the show. I really do. It was a fantastic. But right away, the female Loki, which is Enchantress, is she right away she says it, I'm better than you. I'm the best
Right.
version. And it's like, Loki just went through hell and back, and then this is his other version of himself, and he's just figured out that he turned into a good guy. And then now he still has this, he's torn in between watching everything unfold. Like, I got killed, and then you have this other girl, which I loved her, don't get it wrong, I love that character, but right off the back she's just like, I'm better than you.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, is like really the thing that made the MCU so compelling up until Endgame is like it was one well played out long story that we got to see from the very beginning to the very end. And I feel like when you spend that much time with those characters, it's so much easier to be invested in them. Whereas like I have a hard time investing in some of these characters because I don't know them. And like, like I always say, like, especially with the MCU, it really works in my favor. And a big part of why I like the MCU is like, even though I've always liked comic books and like superheroes and stuff, when I was growing up, I never read Avengers. I never read, like, I did like Spider-Man. I read Spider-Man. I read X-Men, and like that was what I read. I centered around that side of the universe. You know what I mean? And like not having attachment to comic Cap and comic Iron Man and comic Hulk, I feel like helped me accept what the MCU versions of all these characters were. I was always one to believe, though, that like the people who want these to be like true adaptations of the comic books, I'm just like, why would you want that? Like I get the fun part is seeing it play out on screen, but like imagine going into Endgame and knowing how it ended. Like,
yes, yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. This is like its own universe, right? But I don't like the fact that they said in the multiverse of madness that this is Earth 616. You know what I'm saying? It should have been its own Earth, right? This is a whole new telling of a different story. Like, in Civil War, what happens to Cap? He gets assassinated. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't happen in this, and the story still turned out really great. Killmonger. I mean, it's all of those characters. Yes, I like, the only thing I would say is stick to what the character is, like their morality that they have in the comics, right? And how they are in the comics. I don't care if you change whatever color, sex, whatever. I don't care about that. That doesn't mean anything to me. What matters to me is if you change them into a totally different character than what they were that I grew up watching. I'm watching Captain America, and then all of a sudden, just say if this was the example that he, let's say, I think it was Civil War II when they made him, not Civil War II, it was right after Civil War II.
The Hydra version or whatever?
Yeah, the Hydra Cap. Yeah. Right? So you made the Hydra Cap,
Secret
like the whole
Empire.
time. Yeah, so that whole story, right? It upset everybody.
I remember
right?
that. I remember
because
that.
it's like Cap would never do that. Yeah. And of course, it's some, the Tesseract had, was sentient and did what the Red Skull wanted him to do that was in his mind. And then the real one was just trapped in here. And then he comes out and beats him, whatever the case may be. But, if you had that version or something that was so off, people get so off put by the character, right? It's just like Daredevil, right? I hear the story about Daredevil. That Daredevil series, hands down, is the best.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Best show out of all of the MCU style, right? And, when you see him in She-Hulk, which I watched that part, like just the way he acted and how he was, it was nothing like what they wrote him in. And I don't like that. You just change it for what? Like, keep him the way he was.
My thing, and I've said this with on the Moose Milk podcast, I do, but like for me, even hearing John Bernthal's back for Punisher too, right? Like as Punisher and Born Again, and like I'll accept another Daredevil because I really like Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. I think he plays the part really well, and even in She-Hulk, I didn't like it as much, not even close. But like I can tolerate it. There's things about it that I like. I like that he's kind of funny because I know in the comic books he's pretty funny. I liked the like more acrobatic style of him like doing flips and jumping around and shit. I like that as well. But like, it's going to be hard for me to get excited for Born Again on Disney Plus, because the best version of Daredevil has already happened. Like, nothing is going to top that version on Netflix. Nothing is going to. Same with Punisher. You can't
that
beat
Frank Castle
that
scene.
Punisher. Yeah.
In the jail cell, just walking and just, man, it was on another level. And my wife is not into any of this stuff, and she was madly in love with both those series.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
And it's just crazy. I hope they keep it the same and keep it at the same intensity. I hope they do. Let's just
they
pray
at least
they
bring
do.
the edge up a little bit, but I'm telling you that I'm not getting my hopes up. So
yeah,
I want to mention this. Marcus Yee said, I can agree to an extent. I might add on that these characters, most of them are legacy characters, yet some or most of them don't carry that weight compared to Wally West, Sam Wilson, or Miles Morales. And then he said, Shuri's a good example. I just want to see more Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. I don't care. I can give Miss Marvel a pass, though. Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing, is when you get into these like round twos of some of these characters. And it's like, even Sam, like, again, like I like Sam in the MCU as Falcon. I can't, I just don't, like, for me, the hard part is like Chris Evans Captain America is, like, to me, one of the most compelling superheroes on film. Like, I feel like he embodies everything that Captain America is. It's like you were saying, right? It's like you have to keep the certain component to, like, and then everything else you can change. And I feel like Captain America, they did that with so well, like with Chris Evans. I feel like he is the embodiment of Captain America come to life.
It's like Robbie Downey Jr., right? When he first came out,
absolutely.
It was like, he's gonna be Iron Man. Everybody was like, no, not him. Right when you saw him, it's like, that is Iron Man.
That's
you
it.
can't unsee it. Like, that's
exactly.
Iron Man. That's who it is. And again, you know, it's the story. Again, it's like the Secret Empire type deal. It does happen where you know, Sam Wilson does become Captain America, and his struggles were different, right?
Yes.
You know, he's not a super soldier. He is criticized for his color, you know, all that stuff. And it was really, really in depth with, you know, how people are treated. His whole story was, you know, and he fell from grace for a while there and was like, yo, I'm putting it up. And then, you know, the whole Secret Empire thing. And then they needed him to come back to start the war again, to get back Captain America to where he was instead of being Hydra. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it wasn't the greatest story, but I mean, it was still fun, you know. But yes, he is a Captain America, just like Bucky Barnes was Captain America, all that stuff. But there will never be another just Captain America. And it's just like taking Iron Man. You know, I love Ironheart. I think she's a great character in the comic books. I know she's very smart.
But she's not going to be a replacement.
Not at all.
She's just not going to. Like, it's
Jane Foster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I love the Thor character that she is. I love the whole story about, like, you know, when she gets it, her cancer accelerates, all that stuff. You know, then but it's not Thor. It has nothing to do with that. It's just not that character. You know what I'm saying? It's like Black Widow. Fantastic. You get her sister in there. Now she'd probably be the one that replaced her, but it will never be that Black Widow. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's hard too, because we spend so much time with Scarlett Johansson.
The investment.
We spend so much time with RDJ. We spend so much time with Chris Evans. So yeah, it's hard. I agree. Collector Express said, I was disappointed they killed off Purple Man in the Netflix series. He didn't get a chance to interact with Kingpin. Yeah, Purple Man was awesome in Jessica Jones season 1. And I gotta say that, like, MCU Kingpin versus Netflix Kingpin, I'm not a fan. Like, I was a huge fan of Kingpin in Daredevil. He was scary. And then when he showed up in Hawkeye, and I liked the Hawkeye series, surprisingly, but
it wasn't bad.
The Kingpin, I did not like. He seemed very cartoony, and I wasn't feeling it. So
I just feel like the edginess that they had on Netflix, they're not going to transfer over, like
they're
you
not
said.
Going to.
And that was what made it so good. And so it was.
Well, again, you can buy him as somebody who is like a force to be reckoned with, right? Like, you know, and like I found they kind of replaced, like, in Hawkeye, like I feel like they really shot him big. So, like, you know, when they would shoot to him, you know, they would like look up at him. So he looked like this like towering,
massive,
huge, bigger guy than he was, right? And it's like I get that they're trying to make him look like the comic book version and like play him as like a bigger dude, but like, man, the scary thing about Netflix Daredevil, Punisher or Kingpin was like he was unpredictable and like
never knew when he was gonna snap.
Man, like that time
bashing
when
heads
he like
indoors.
Man, like that's fucked up and like that's scary too, right? Like,
yep. His fight between him, Daredevil, and I think it was him and Daredevil in the house at the very end, the final, like towards the end of the season.
Season 1 or
season 3? Who was in there? It was Daredevil and the other guy. I think it
Bullseye?
was it Bullseye where he
that was the end of season 3, right? Yes, he was in the Daredevil costume.
Yeah, that fight scene was fantastic to me, and he looked like he could take both of them on. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Because you built that character to be that way.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, he was
intimidating and just like,
Yep.
Oh man, it's so good. I need to rewatch Netflix Daredevil. It's been a minute, but
I know. Same here.
So good. Gonna get a couple more questions in here before we wrap up, as we're approaching the 2-hour mark here. It goes by so fast.
I know.
Is there any figures so far that stand out for you for this year as like, favorites? Do you have a favorite figure of 2023 yet?
There's let me just tell you 2022 what my favorite character is first.
Sure.
So it's not even either one of anything that I own, which is actually my Devil Dinosaur, which is the Jurassic Park Hammond collection.
Yeah.
I the articulation, everything about it, hands down, one of my favorite figures ever made. I
had a chance to buy it for like $40 Canadian. It was on sale at Toys R Us, and I didn't buy it.
Worth every penny. Bad. I understand it's not in scale, but at the same time, it's still fantastic.
It's still huge and looks amazing.
For 2023 so far, I would say this is my 2023 so so this is probably my favorite.
That's Jaguar, right? That's
from the Mutanimals.
From the Archies. That's so cool. I'm not collecting that line, but I
mean, I wasn't really going to, but
then you saw it and you're like, oh man,
I have to have this one. And then luckily the other day I went by Target and
you got Dreadmon too. Nice. He looks so good too.
Only thing is I have to keep his feet flat, even though I had it up on his toes. It just kept on falling over like every 5 seconds.
It's probably really heavy with that hair, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, that head is huge.
Yeah, it looks big. Does the head move much?
Yeah, it has mouth articulation. So the mouth
they do so good with integrating that without it looking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, this is I'm all about accuracy. Make it look exactly like it was in the cartoons, comics, whatever the case may be. And that's what I try to strive for when I make my customs is I try to make it as accurate to the comic as possible. Sometimes I just can't get it right, but I'll do my best to. But
same here.
This line, hands down, is just the whole NECA Ninja Turtle line.
Yeah, I know. Ninja Turtles are awesome. I'm sticking with Toon and movie stuff for now, but again, like you said earlier, like the movie stuff's kind of like, there's really like 2 or 3 characters left, and it's like, who knows if we'll ever even get them. I know we're getting Kino, which is great. I'd love a Tatsu eventually, but it seems like that might not be happening. So, it is what it is. And then I'd probably buy a Vanilla Ice if they made one just for shit and giggles, just whatever. But I mean, like that's the extent of it, right? Like, I don't have to worry about them occupying much more space than they currently do because the line's basically filled out, right? So but things like the Toon line, like with NECA, I feel like you get so much value when you buy their stuff. It's like you couldn't put another thing in those boxes, man. They're just they're stacked to the brim, and I love it. I love it too.
Did you get the did you get the party van?
I didn't, because I don't have room. It's not that I didn't want it. I definitely wanted it, but I was like, where the fuck am I going to put that?
So I saved the shelf for it right there.
It's like the dioramas too, though, right? It's like I love all of that. Now they're talking about that sewer diorama, and I'm just like, man, I would love to have that, but I don't have the space for it, and I just need to, I don't want to give up real estate for diorama. I'd rather use it for figures.
Of course.
And like, like I was saying, like I'm a big X-Men fan, right? So like I have a bunch of X-Men teams I still want to like have represented in figure form. I'm happy we're getting Astonishing X-Men. It seems like they're going to start up with that. I'm happy we're starting to see some Gen X. That's also on my list. But like I'd love a team of Ultimate X-Men. I'd love a team of like original, like OG X-Men. You know what I mean? So there's still things that I want that I don't have. So yeah, I need to kind of like prioritize my real wants. So X-Men's where it is. Peggy Zero Dad stopping by. What up, Gary? Said morning, guys. He's in Scotland, so morning. I'll catch up later. Should be a good one with Hans. Thanks, man. Hopefully you enjoy it. Do you have a most anticipated figure for this year, or something else that's coming out that you're excited to get your hands on?
If anything, it's the Destroyer. I mean, I want it in Marvel Legends form, and that
does look good, man. Does look good, and he looks beefy too, and he looks like he's got a black wash on him, so like the lines actually pop, which I was surprised by. But
like when you got the comic Bucky Barnes or Bucky,
the Bucky Cat.
Not Bucky Cat.
Yeah.
It was just like plain. No lines, so it's like I had to put a wash in it to make it.
That was like the first Mysterio. The first Mysterio had no wash, and I was like, "Come on, you do this beautiful sculpt and you don't put a wash on it? Give me a break, guys." It's like easy shit.
Of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a goodie. I like Mysterio a lot. I love Spider-Man, but a big part of why I love Spider-Man is I love his rogues, man. I love Mysterio. I love Scorpion. I love Doc Ock. I love Venom. I love the Goblins. Like there's just I can't even pick. I couldn't even narrow it down. There's so many. I love Chameleon. I love Kingpin. Like it just never ends, dude. Craven's such an awesome character.
Like, the Sinister, like I have a full shelf over here that's just the Sinister War, which is all different types of Sinister Six characters because I love it too. They're awesome.
They're fun, right?
I did definitely. I mean, every character. It's just so crazy. You make all these animal style characters, and it just works well. I don't know why. I mean, some of the characters are dumb, like the Fly. Don't get it wrong, it is dumb. But I mean, I still had to have it. It's one of his bad guys. Like, let me buy it. But the Mysterio that I did, the zombie Mysterio, is probably one of my favorites that I did actually. Let me put that back because I keep on forgetting about that because people think that it's like a statue. So let me bring it over here real quick.
Yeah. I'll give you the screen again. Yeah, man. I remember seeing this one and I was blown away by it. Again, your little base that you have on it, like.
So, real quick, this is my hand that I molded and I put in those ones where you like hold hands. So the one for the Sandman was actually the original one I was going to use on here, but I didn't notice that I curled my fingers over instead of left it open. So then I was like, this thing was just sitting on the side. So I was like, you know what? I had a Sandman, an extra body. Yeah, I'll make a Sandman out of it. But this is just, I didn't want it to be a statue. So what I did was I just pegged them in. So like every single one of these characters that are on these type of bases, like in the future, can just come right off. And then, you can still manipulate it. But with this, I did a lot of sculpting. Beautiful.
Yeah, that looks amazing. I love that exposed hand and the brain and the.
Yeah, this brain
and that cape. That cape's awesome too. Did you make that cape?
I did.
Wow, that's great.
I don't know how to sew. I bought a sewing machine because that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't sew. This is all glued in. I mean, you can see right here where it's coming apart just in one part. I didn't glue that part.
Yeah.
But I mean, for what it is, putting the wires in it, it turned out really well. Man.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cape. That looks good.
But yeah, it just pegs in. You can take out the pegs and put them in place. And I don't like when people make, or I don't like when people make. I don't like when I make something that can't move.
Yeah, me too.
I'm all about articulation and poses, right? You could have the dopest character, dopest figure, but if you don't articulate it correctly, it just looks plain. And a lot of people have this thing where they like make the character and they just have them standing stiff.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen my displays. I don't display anything like that. I know some people just aren't good at. Like even Token last week was here and. Like he was like, when I display stuff, they just stand vanilla because it's like he's like, I suck at posing. So like, I get it. It is. I think there is a skill to posing as well, right? Like 100%. I feel like there's talent that goes alongside that. So,
but there's characters that are out there, right? So like, you asked me what my favorite body is. It is the Sunfire body mold. I just love it. It's great. The only thing I don't like is these rubber knees that after time they start bending out.
I know. I'm not a fan either.
but I mean, with these butterfly joints, everything, right? You could just take a second, how would a superhero or a villain, whatever the case may be, just move or even pose, and you could just take like 2 seconds just to give it like, a dynamic look, and it just changes completely.
Everything. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think Sunfire Body is my favorite one to customize on. So I'd love to see something like that in like a slightly upsized body. Like, it's like even the Vulcan body, like I don't mind the Vulcan body. I fucking really hate working with pegless joints like a lot. Like I find them very frustrating. So I do, but I fucking hate it. So
I mean, it's hard to sand down the joints, but have you ever taken one apart?
Yep. Yeah.
That sucks. You have to cut one side and then bend it completely and pull it out. I mean, I love the way it looks, but for customizing, it's a little harder. But I mean, hey, like anything else, we have to get used to it, and then we'll get better.
We have to
at
adapt.
It as time goes.
We have to adapt.
And I'll take the pegless, items anytime, as long as it has double joints in them.
Yeah, me too. Double joints key, and I'm glad that we're starting to see that articulation scheme move over to female bodies too.
About damn time.
So I agree.
About damn time.
Yeah, female ladies have always gotten the shit end of the stick on that one. So yeah, I'm working on a death locket right now, and it's on that like old teen buck, and I just like the teen female buck, and I fucking hate that body so much. Like the ankles are so flimsy and shitty. The little stupid boot cut that's just so fucking ugly. Like I hate it so much, man. I hate it. I hate using it, but it was the only body I could use for what I was doing. So
it's like that Moonstone that just came out. I believe it's Moonstone, right? Thunderbolts. Like the feet, you have to cut it to make it stand.
Yeah,
it sucks.
I didn't pick it up, but
yeah, I like the original version. I get it. You're toning it down, so like the chest has like a instead of it concaving,
it's like a uniboob.
Yeah. And it's cool. I don't mind it, but I still like the other version better.
Me too.
But I mean,
it's just because it's what I remember, right? It's like it's like even with Psylocke, it's like I remember Psylocke being very, very busty when I was a kid, and it's like then you get the figure and it's like extremely toned down. And again, I do understand what they're doing, but yeah, like it's usually when I customize, I accentuate where it's needed, because it's just like that's what I was a kid, so like that is what I remember. Unfortunately, I'm but that's how I remember Psylocke. She was just
very busty,
scantily dressed, and very
wearing
busty,
a bathing suit, and kicking ass, and using telepathy.
Nothing like that protection, eh? It's just like it's gonna go and fight some sentinels. I'll put my bathing suit on.
Yeah, I watch these memes of like when you play like old school, like medieval times, these dudes have like these big hulking armor, and the women have the same stats, but they're wearing bikinis with like one shoulder
with chainmail on.
It's like, this works, right? Take it.
Well, even when I did that Warbird figure, we were making jokes about how she's like armored like crazy, and then like her tits and like her whole like stomach is just exposed, and it's like
what is that gonna do for
like
you?
The one place that you shouldn't be exposed, and it's exposed. It's like if you should have armor anywhere, it should be covering your organs, not like don't armor up your legs and arms and then leave all that out. Like, what are you doing?
Just imagine you just going like, what's a good idea? We're about to go to war. Let me put this on. Okay, this looks good.
Collector Express said, as long as they remember to put elbow and knee joints in when they inject the softer plastic into the molds. I don't. He bought a bunch of Vulcans, and one of the ones he had, they forgot to put the elbow in, so it looked like the soft plastic injected, and it looked like it had an elbow joint, but it didn't actually move. It was one solid piece because they forgot to put the elbow in. So it's like even when he tried to cut it open to see if he could like figure it out, he realized they just forgot to put the joint in, and they just filled it all with soft plastic. So looked like it was articulated, but it didn't actually do anything. So but yeah.
Oh, I do want to say the worst body mold, the Bucky cap at this point.
Fucking hate it, man.
Why are they putting it on these figures? Like, when you get what is it, the eyeball guy? What is his name?
The orb.
Yeah, the orb. Man, why did I forget? He's in the Masters of Multiversal Masters of Evil. He's part of that little thing that happened. But like again.
Yeah, I hate it.
Why are you using
honestly mold? It's enough for me to say that I'm not interested. Like I hate it that much. I fucking hate the body, the Bucky cap body.
I'm literally gonna take that and I'm gonna put it on a Vulcan body because I have extra Vulcan bodies, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a waste. I'm getting it for the Build-A-Figure part because I
Right. Yeah.
do want the Puff
Collect
Adder.
Serpent. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, like that figure looks awesome. The only thing I have right now is just the head, and it already looks awesome, and I don't even have the rest of the parts yet.
Nice. I have to say that whenever someone says Hasbro's not going to make this, I always refer to the Serpent Society, and I'm like, we have a pretty hearty collection of Serpent Society characters right now, and I gotta say that I never thought we would ever get that. So
That's
yeah.
what. I'm gonna do. What is his name? Man, it's getting late. What's the one with the whips? Constrictor, not Constrictor.
Yeah, I think it is Constrictor. I'm pretty sure.
Is it
I
Constrictor?
think
Yeah.
so.
Like I'm gonna use this body. That's why I got the yellow legs on here.
Nice,
I'm gonna
nice.
use this to replace that because again, those old school
Just gonna
balls.
swap out the head and like transfer the whip parts
Yep.
over from the hands. Yeah, nice. Yeah, let's wrap this up. We've been going for 2 hours, so fucking A. Hans, thanks very much for taking time out of your Wednesday night of all nights to do this with me. I really appreciate it, and appreciate your little hot glue tutorial you did kind of midstream there. That's I'm sure that made a lot of people happy in the chat. So thanks, man. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I just want to say, if you guys have any questions or if you need anything help wise, that's what I'm here for. Like I said, I don't sell any customs. Maybe in the future I will. I don't know. I've been in my career for a very long time, and retirement's right around the corner. And if I retire, I am 38 years old. I'm a little older too. So
Younger than me.
I want to be able to help people. That's my biggest thing, and understand how this whole thing works. And like doing this video was great. I'm not a video editor. I don't have time to make video. It's not that I don't have time to make videos. I don't know how to chop it up and all stuff, but I already have so many hobbies that I do that I don't want to make it another one. And I don't want to pay anybody else because my kids take up a lot of my money, with sports and stuff and buying gear and traveling around the US to play basketball and baseball. So again, I'm out here to help people. You have questions. If I don't answer it right away, give me a little bit of time. Bear with me. And that's pretty much what I got. I mean, I appreciate you having me on here. It's always a pleasure to do stuff like this, which this is my first time doing it here on any platform. But I mean, me and my friends get together, we talk, we discuss whatever it is. But none of it's a secret to me. I don't want it to be a secret. My biggest goal is to be the first to do it and teach you how to do it afterwards. Buy it here, buy it there. And you know what? Enjoy the collection. And I am a collector. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you need anything, just hit me up.
That's awesome, man. Well, for anybody who's following, if you're not following Hans over on Instagram, please check him out. The handle is right on the screen here. It's also in the description of the video. It's also on the thumbnail picture from this week on my Instagram. If you just want to click one thing and not have to type it out, it's all made accessible to you guys there. So if you aren't already, go show him some love, give him a follow. Let's get those numbers up. And yeah, man, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate you taking time out of your midweek to just hang out and stay up late and talk toys with me.
Oh yeah, I gotta get up in 4 hours for work. So
yay.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. Anytime you want to get together, give me a call. I'm there too.
I love it. Love it. And to everybody in the chat, thank you guys all for being so chatty. As always, appreciate you guys. As I said at the top of the show, I am going to take a little break here. Just a little downtime to catch up on life. So for anybody, my inbox is always open as well. If you ever have any questions, hit me up. I'm all about the sharing as well. Collector Express says sharing knowledge and helping others in the hobby, which is great. And he is notorious for doing that as well. So thank you to everybody for being here. Hope you all have a great night. Hit that like on the way out if you don't mind. And we will see you. I will keep you guys in the loop whenever I come back. Hans, thank you again. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Peace out.
Bye.